welcome to The Angel and the Exorcist. I am the Exorcist. My name is Paul Devlin. I work as an Exorcist, but I also work with therapies and energies, helping people in their lives.
And I'm Samantha Jayne, known as the Angel here on the show. I am a psychic medium and trance healer.
So today we're talking about aliens and UFOs. Big subject this, massive interest, global thing.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10 you talk about things and crafts from other civilizations. Some people saying they're real, some people not. So what do you think? Do you think aliens are real?
I do.
You do?
I do. I think they are among us.
Among us. Explain.
I do. I think it's a bit like spirit, isn't it? Though you have to have personal experiences or something like that. I do. I think that I do involve them in my work to a degree. I do have experiences through my work of alien. I do affectionately, jokingly say to people, just call me Mrs. Ike.
Touch on that now.
Yeah, which we'll get into in a minute.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that they do. I think, you know, I think another word might be Egyptian, isn't it? Didn't they build the pyramids?
Well, yeah. There's a lot. There are a lot of structures in the world that, shall we say, point to the technology not being around.
Exactly.
And I remember I did watch one documentary once, and they tried to take a stone the size of one of the Egyptian pyramids, and they tried to transport it on a barge, and it nearly capsized. It took them ages to do one stone.
Yeah.
So.
And let's face it, aliens clearly produced Star Trek, didn't they?
Of course they did.
All the technology in Star Trek, whoever wrote that years ahead.
Well, Star Trek Voyager, famously, they were walking around on tablets. They hadn't even been invented yet. And you could look
Some
back.
of the Egyptians, though, but they were stone.
Stone tablet.
Not quite the same. But no, in answer to your question, yes, I do.
Yeah.
I do, actually.
Yeah, I didn't.
Okay.
Until I had 2 experiences. One was when my daughter was really young, and she used to have trouble sleeping at night. So I used to go take a lap around the park, and there was this. I just remember it being deadly silent, and this. The only thing I can describe it is like a bright white rod travelling through the sky, very low, no sound, bright as light, so bright, and it just went right around like that. And I was like, that's odd, it's completely silent. I don't think the military or anything like that has anything like that. And then I used to be in touch with a guy called Les Rogue, which we'll come on to later, and he used to communicate with alien energy.
Right, okay.
And I remember one night I was playing FIFA on the PlayStation, and all I remember is this huge reflection on the screen of something behind me, and this thing in my head said, "Whatever you do not turn around." I was like, "Oh, okay." It's really difficult to concentrate when you can see this thing, and I could feel it, and I could see its reflection. And when it had gone, it was like, we were just checking something out, but you're okay now, you can turn around. I didn't turn around for about another hour, I don't think.
Yeah.
To what it was, I don't know. I'll tell you one thing, it wasn't a burglar.
No.
This was very real, whatever that reflection was. So that was my experience.
Powerful experience.
Woke me up.
Yeah.
And then I started to research a lot of things.
Right, okay. So what did your research come up with?
My research came up with a lady called Barbara Lamb, Now,
Right,
Barbara
okay.
Lamb is a fascinating lady. She has interviewed over 3,000 people, probably even more now, worldwide, who claim to be abducted by aliens.
Right, okay.
And from her studies, she has come up with all this information. So, all the things that she said have kind of, the stories are all matched with all these people all over the world. So you kind of think that there must be something in it.
Yeah.
That, for example, she said that I think they come from like 19 different civilizations.
Okay.
They're reptilian. There are 4 types of humanoids. There are greys. There are other types. There are even hybrids, and some, according to her and the abductees, are hybrids, so they take on human form
Mhm.
and are among us,
Yeah.
which we were talking about before.
Which I believe.
Yeah, and I totally believe that. I think if you've got the evidence to back it up, 3,000 people who don't know each other, who have individually gone to this lady,
Yeah.
and came up with all this information.
And separate experiences.
Yeah.
It's not like mass hallucination.
No,
Yeah.
so it's
okay.
got to be. There's got to be something in it, and apparently, the reason why people get abducted is because a lot of the alien species are dying. So we are taken. We are given.
It's not because we're the stupidest being.
No.
Then.
No, I don't think so.
And they're just fascinated by how stupid
we are.
As a
Yeah, that's even a whole other
destroying
subject.
the land we live on. No, they're not just
Well,
trying to work out Dumber and Dumber.
Well, if you put it this way, okay, this is what I came up with.
Right. Okay.
A lot of these abductees have said that they've been put on a table and had experiments done to them, not very pleasant.
Yeah.
If you see how...
No one loves a good probe, do they?
No, they don't. They don't.
Sorry.
So that one, please.
Sorry.
Oh, crap. What did I say? All right.
The thought of the
And there
probe,
is
wasn't
the
it?
probe,
We're
it's
not
a probe,
cutting
do
this
it.
out, you know, we're leaving this in.
Okay. So,
The reported probing.
the reported probing. So if you were an alien looking down on our civilization to see how we don't respect the land, don't respect nature, waste food, we're not resourceful at all. If you abducted somebody from this world, you're going to put them on the table and go, yeah, you obviously don't care about the planet, so I don't care what I probe you with.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
If we were a bit more respectful of the land, maybe those experiences would be more on the positive side. And there are positive abductee experiences according to these reports.
Right. Okay.
And mainly with the human species.
Yeah.
So it's, again, it's a massive subject. But, you've had
And a lot of
experience.
opinions.
Yeah.
Lots of opinions. Yeah.
So yeah, it's everybody's had an experience. They've seen something in the sky that they may not necessarily understand. But going on to the David Icke thing, and you refer yourself to Mrs. Icke sometimes.
Mrs. Icke. Yeah, he doesn't know. He doesn't feel a thing.
Yeah,
bless him. Because I have, we all have guides. When we work spiritually, we all have guides. And periodically, and it's always when I'm asleep, it's in dream state, and I leave body and I go off, I get summoned to big meetings.
Right.
And with my full, what I regard as my soul set, and sat round that table, as it were, I always see a reptilian,
Right.
and a grey, as well as
Others.
Yeah, always. So, and I've done trance work where I have brought through what we would regard as alien. But I mean, I always joke, to them we're aliens.
Yeah,
Keep
absolutely.
it in perspective here. But yeah, it's one of those I've always had, especially the reptilian, which is hence the reference to
Yeah.
being Mrs. Ike. I've always had a reptilian link as well.
Right.
Not a constant, steps in, steps out. And for example, that happened again about a few weeks ago. That reptilian stepped back into the picture again.
I think, I mean, I don't know what you feel about this. A lot of people are affected when they hear the word reptilian. They
what was that TV series? V?
V,
Do
yeah.
you remember V?
Yeah, I remember V. I remember them eating the rat. So, you know, that affects people. But from a lot of these accounts and cases that I've been looking at, that reptilians aren't as horrible and nasty
No.
that everybody thinks they are. It's just they are affected by this, you know, it's portrayed as a bad thing, so therefore everybody believes it.
Yeah.
You know, it's when it has been portrayed through the media, it's never been in a positive light, so
No.
people aren't going to look at it.
No.
So that's why I'm keen to get positive experiences from reptilian,
Yeah.
like such as yourself, because then you broadcast that out to the world, and it sends a message that not all reptilians are bad.
Yeah, it's like any culture, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And I've noticed that when this presence comes in, I'll call it a presence, is whenever I am stepping up mediumistically, and in particular like doing something that raises a bigger awareness, like this project that we're on today, that is when this linkage comes in.
Yeah. And I remember when I first started researching this, there was this one time I was off to my friend's house, and I've never told anybody this before, and I was walking across this field to my friend's house, and I knew there were clouds in the sky, but I knew what was above it.
Yeah.
And I could see people walking around with clipboards, you know, like this, in my head. And I could feel the presence of this thing literally hovering over me.
Yeah.
And then every time I went, drove down the motorway, and saw clouds and stuff, I got to the point where I could start to feel that energy of them. Not necessarily communication at the start, but that did come later, but only with one kind of race. And you know, they don't like to be contacted, or, you know, if you really need my help, we are here, but don't overuse the privilege, to which I don't. And people can say, oh, you know, is that spirit that alien? This is definitely alien. You can tell the difference.
Yeah.
It's just so you tell the difference. And I think that's important, that people look above the trench, if you like. You know, one of the things that David Icke did say, and I was watching one of his documentaries, that years ago we always used to look up to the stars.
Yeah.
For advice. You know, in the ancient Egyptian scrolls and in caves, there's always pictures of alien craft. Even in the Sistine Chapel, there's these beautiful paintings on the ceiling. Well, there's actually alien craft in the paintings.
Yeah.
Which is great. Where did that come from?
Yeah.
You know, but as time has gone on, we've gone from looking up to the stars to gradually coming down to looking at our tablets or our phones, and we don't look up anymore.
No.
We only look down. And he was saying that that's the shame of it. Is it because they don't want you to look up? There's a fascinating thing that a UFO researcher told me once. If you have two camcorders, and if you have two camcorders, which you can try this at home, one on night vision and one on normal setting, if you point them to the sky, the one on normal setting will just pick up the clouds. But the one on night vision, if there's anything there, we'll pick it up.
Oh, okay.
Because UFOs have the ability to be cloaked or invisible, and there is a lot of evidence out there to suggest that, and they can pick it up with 2 cameras. So they have that ability. So they're way beyond us. So why they come here and look, I don't know. You asked the question.
But we are a fascination.
Yeah,
We are a fascination.
we are a fascination.
Yeah.
I think if I was an alien, I'd just be looking down and going, why? Why? What do you do that for?
One of the things I have done, or I do many a time in my clearance work of people, is remove what we refer to as alien implant.
Yes,
which
that's
I regard as like a tracking device.
Big subject.
Yeah.
Somebody very close to me had an experience in New Zealand.
Yeah.
And they were camping, and they are absolutely adamant that there were greys outside.
Yeah.
And that something was put in them.
Yeah.
And when I made contact with a UFO stroke alien researcher, we said this to him, and he said, yeah, definitely.
Where did he think it was in his body?
Actually, back of the leg.
Back of the leg. Okay.
And there, I don't know how true these things are, but somebody brought along once to a conference I went, and they claimed that this thing in the little test tube they were holding was an implant.
Yeah.
And it was a little silver, you could just about see in the water. Now, anybody could put that and say, look, this is it. Why you wouldn't do that and draw attention to yourself, I don't know, unless it was a genuine thing, but there are people out there. But again, just because you haven't experienced it on a human level or on an earth level, it doesn't mean to say it doesn't exist.
No.
It's like pointing those cameras at the sky again. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean to say it's there.
No.
Like you, I think aliens are among us, 100%. There are too many craft that have been spotted, and governments covering them up, and things like Area 51 and people like Bob Lazar, whose job it was to reverse technology on alien craft and use them for our own gains. These people can just come out and face the amount of ridicule that they do, unless they thought it was an important thing.
Yeah. We'd like to think so.
I like to think so.
So often clients come to me, not masses, just periodically I'll have clients come to me who just feel something's not right with them. They feel as if there is something in them, whilst at the same time not having a clue why they're saying it and what they're talking about.
Yeah.
And when they get on my healing couch, what I find is that they've had alien implantation put in. And that tends to take place when we've been in a dream state.
Right.
They tend to have had some strange, wacky dream moments. Yeah, of alien and things like that as well.
Okay.
Which they dismissed at the time, or even in meditation. Sometimes these things go on. What I remove from them, I would describe as it looks like a squid.
Right. It's really funny you say that. Barbara Lamb, who we were talking about, who's interviewed all these abductees, she says that before people get abducted, the person who is going to be abducted normally cannot call out, cannot move, but more importantly, the person next to them or the partner is put into a deep sleep, so they are not disturbed. So if imagine you've got somebody coming in the room, that person who is awake and can't call, can't do anything, is trying to get their partner's attention, but they've been put into such a deep stasis of sleep.
Yeah.
And what you were saying about, being able to implant somebody, that makes total sense.
Yeah, yeah. So then they come to me and I perform a healing and I energetically, surgically remove it.
Right.
And I've seen loads of them, I've had them.
Yeah.
And it's just when we're doing interesting things or they just want to observe us. It is something that, as far as I'm concerned, it is something that goes on. It's very real.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I do refer to them as tracking devices because they want to journey with you and see what you're up to, what you're doing, or be involved in the things that you are doing.
Yeah, it's almost like having your mobile phone with you, isn't it?
Yeah.
At the end of the month,
Yeah.
you go on the old Alien app.
Yeah.
He's been to the coffee shop 3 times.
Yeah.
There's a lot of talk around where we are in Wiltshire, UK,
Yeah.
about crop circles.
Right. Yeah.
And how they're formed.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, sometimes by alien.
yeah.
Sometimes by human.
Yes, I've had drinks with that group.
They're quite how they do it, but they do.
Yeah. My wife's massively into crop circles.
Right. Okay.
And she's been to quite a few of them.
Right.
And she says that the energy in a crop circle is crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I've never been in a crop circle.
I've known people be very ill from sitting in genuine crop circles.
Yeah.
I think in the fake ones, I think if they're ill, it's from smelling the alcoholic fumes from those.
You've been down the pub before. Sorry, guys. But I tell you what, it's great debate.
Yeah, they're beautiful though,
yeah,
aren't they?
they're great. They're just, really good fun. So you've got close encounters.
Yeah.
So there's 5 kinds. I've got to remember this. First kind, close encounter of the first kind is looking up and seeing craft.
Yeah.
Alien craft. Close encounters of the second time, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is implants of the ground. So crop circles, are they caused by, alien craft or little orbs of light? Some of them you've seen on YouTube, whether they're real or not, you don't know.
Yeah.
But that's the second time. Close encounters of the third kind is obviously like the film. You actually see
What a
alien.
film. Yeah.
Great film. And sort of abduction. Fourth is aircraft, pilots, commercial, Air Force pilots. And then close encounters of the fifth kind is where humans will try and make contact with alien species. So
not the other way around. Is that
not
what
the
you
other
mean?
way, yeah.
Right, okay.
So humans will make contact with aliens. And they do that by 2 ways. Now I've been on a couple of sky watches. Now sky watches are really cool things. I think they're really cool. So ufologists will normally all get together.
Yeah.
And they will have a series of lasers certain areas where there's no craft, and obviously you have to get permission to point your lasers up in the sky, very powerful ones.
Yeah.
And on some occasions, if there's anything up there, it will respond back.
Okay.
With a flicker or a glamour or whatever.
With that tune.
Yeah. Do 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 do.
Yeah.
And there are groups, mainly in America, out in Arizona,
Okay.
that will sit and meditate openly, and they will film the meditation with the purpose of going into meditation to make contact with alien species. And when they look back on the footage and they get people to take pictures, you will see, not all the time, but you will see wisps or what they call rods, or even figures, alien figures. To how they quite do that.
And have you done that?
I haven't done that.
No. No, you've done the light.
I've done the lights in the
saber
sky.
one. Yeah.
I've done the lightsaber.
Yeah.
But I personally think that's kind of a step too far to sit in a meditation circle.
It's a lot of energy.
With a lot of people, because they're all strangers. I've got this interest, and you're all together. You know, there doesn't seem to be any protection that goes with it. There doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason apart from let's just see what we get.
Yeah.
Which in a way is a little bit like using a talking board but with aliens.
Yeah.
Which to me is a bit dodgy.
And in all realms there's negatives.
Yeah, absolutely.
As well as positives. Yeah.
So, yeah. So Sam, the whole world's experienced lockdown. But in lockdown there has been a lot more reported sightings of alien craft, UFOs, whatever you want to call them. Do you think there's an explanation for that?
I think because people have been paying more attention. Less distractions, less living at 100 miles an hour, more time sat outside looking up at the sky probably. Plus the Pentagon released videos, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
Which would have activated people's interest as well. People have been looking for things to do, let alone anything else. And I think it's just purely that the world stopped, as it were, and looked up instead of, like you said earlier, looking down. I think that's all it is. I don't think there's any increase in the activity.
No.
I think it's always been there. It's just that we were regardless.
Yeah, we had the time.
Yeah.
To step into our gardens, look into the sky.
Yeah.
We watched all the stuff we could watch on the telly. You know, we played all the computer games and all the crossword puzzles and all the word searches. So, you know, to look up at the skies is a very positive thing to do.
Yeah.
Mainly people look because they can see the space station or other satellites. It's when other things, you know, show themselves, which is fantastic. Well, that brings us to the end of this episode. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and hit that bell, and we will see you for the next episode.